The following is a pre-recorded show. Welcome to Winning in Retirement with your host, Brian Akers, certified financial planner professional and founder of Akers Financial Group. Now, helping you win in your retirement, here's Brian Akers.
Hello, I'm Brian Akers, and today I have special guest Sam Payne. Yes, I'm Brian Akers from Akers Financial Group. I'm a certified financial planner practitioner, and here with me today is Sam Payne, with over 30 years experience in the financial services industry, has multiple licenses and certification, and all-around good guy. But most importantly, Sam is a certified national Social Security advisor. So you're hearing from one of the best when it comes to Social Security. I can't even say it straight today, it's funny. Which is why Sam is with me today, because he's going to know how to say Social Security, and that's the really good thing. Thanks for joining me today, Sam. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Glad to be here. Yes, and it's Social Security.
I'm glad you can say it probably in English and many other languages, yes. But it's wonderful to have you here, Sam. Our show is going to be called Starting Social Security. You know why I want to have this show, and I want to tell you, it's getting real personal to me. What I mean by that is this. When I think about Social Security, I first began to think about that based on my age, I'm not that far away anymore. Anybody that's born in 1960, they're turning 62 this year. Now, I'm not a big fan of taking Social Security at 62. I think of Social Security at 67. But today's show with Sam and I are going to tell you why we think you might want to think about waiting or having a special strategy for you and your spouse. When you're planning on retiring and creating your income plan, you must decide when to draw Social Security, and you must think about it over a lifetime of income. The show we have is about talking about Social Security, and we want you to hear this entire show so that it can apply to you and your future. You might not understand everything we say the first time, so you might have to go back and listen to this show again. And we'll have that on our website at akersfinancialgroup.com. All right, our show today is called Starting Social Security. Hopefully you're ready to go. I know you're probably driving somewhere or sitting relaxing, and you might think, Social Security, do I really need to talk about it? And my answer is absolutely. So let's get started. All right, Sam, Social Security, you're a Social Security advisor. You took some classes to learn how to teach the courses?
Yes, I did. Yep. Social Security is an incredibly important topic, and it can be somewhat complicated. So understanding the nuances of Social Security from an advisor's perspective, I think, is paramount to being successful, helping people plan for their Social Security, when to claim it, how to claim it, those questions.
Absolutely. So what I'd like to do is just start with the basics.
Yep.
So let's go with basics. I'm explaining Social Security to to anyone. How would you explain it?
I would say basically Social Security will generate for you a lifetime of income, and you have choices when it comes time to claim your Social Security. There's one number that everybody needs to know with their Social Security, and that's called the primary insurance amount. That's the amount of benefit you would get if you claim at your full retirement age. We're going to talk, I'm sure, more about that later, but when it comes to Social Security, it's knowing that dollar amount, knowing what that is, and why that dollar amount is important.
Oh, absolutely. So you're calling that the primary insurance amount?
Primary insurance amount, which is the benefit amount you would receive, any beneficiary would receive at their full retirement age. Now we need to talk about full retirement age and what that is.
Sure. Full retirement age is going to be, like if you're born in 1960, when they changed the law a few years back, they made full retirement age be 67.
They did, and they extended it from 66 to 67 over, I think it was a 4-year period or a certain time frame. So it depends on when you were born as to what your full retirement age is. And you're right, anybody who was born 1967 or later, their full retirement age is 67.
Right. So if you're born in the 1950s, Social Security at full retirement age will start around 66 and plus a certain number of months. If you're born 58, 59, it's sort of like 66 and 10 months. If you're born in 1960, like I started out the show, you're born in the 60s, you basically full retirement age is 67. So when you hear us use definitions like PIA, what does that mean again, the PIA?
Primary insurance amount.
Cool.
Primary insurance amount.
That's cool. And then we have the FRA. What does that mean again?
Full retirement age. FRA is full retirement age.
All right. So full retirement age is a number based on what your earnings are over a 35-year career of income.
Exactly.
Then they reduce it if you draw it earlier.
They do. Absolutely.
How does that work?
If you claim at full retirement age, you get the full primary insurance amount. But should you choose to claim early, like unfortunately a lot of people do, at 62, that primary insurance amount, that benefit amount, is reduced by up to 25%.
Yeah, so that's 6% per year.
6% per year, approximately. Yes.
Yeah, so it could be 30% if they, my goodness, they're up to 30%, the highest. And that what that means is that's 30% less, and that's locked in for your lifetime.
Will not go up. Let me back up. The only way it'll go up is with cost of living adjustments.
Sure.
But yes, it's locked in.
Now, there has been cost of living adjustments last year, and there probably will be one for next year based on the inflation rate and the way they calculate it.
Yes, but we went a lot of years with very little to no cost of living adjustment. So it's great to have a cost of living adjustment, but it's not each and every time.
Right. Yeah, that's very true. So they announce it, and then you'll get a raise the next year. The thing is, you don't always get the full raise, especially if you're over 65 and drawing Medicare.
That's true. They'll take the increases in Medicare away from that raise.
Absolutely. So I think last year, Social Security went 5.99, but the Medicare went up 11%.
Yeah. Yes.
And so in financial planning, we put Social Security into the retirement income plan, but we show it at most a 1% increase over a career. Many times we show it as at a zero. And there's some reasons we do that at Akers Financial Group. And some of the reasons are the fact that Social Security might actually be lower in the future.
And I think that's smart planning. Realistically speaking, the net increase, the Social Security Administration can't afford, honestly, huge increases.
Right.
So they've got to they will figure out a way or determine a way to keep the increases within a manageable range because of the trust fund value.
Absolutely. Now, on a Social Security statement, for many, many years now, Social Security has been putting a little bit of a disclaimer. I printed one out for you for one of my clients just the other day. What was that saying about the Social Security to the future?
They basically say that if things stay the same and there are no legislative changes to Social Security, the Social Security Trust Fund will not have enough benefit to pay the full benefits to all the beneficiaries. They will only be able to pay about 78 cents per dollar.
Right.
So at some point, and as of 2022, that time frame is 2035, so 12 years from now, 13 years from now,
right,
that benefit, according to their calculations, if nothing changes, could be cut by up to 22%, maybe.
Yeah, when I think about my numbers, I just happen to be drawing right when they're supposed to reduce it.
Yeah.
Now, I know my thinking is it's going to be very hard for our federal government to lower anybody's payment that they're already receiving.
Right.
I just don't think that's politically doable. I believe there's going to have to come up with another solution to be able to help Social Security last longer.
And I think you're right. I think that we have been there before as a country where Social Security was in trouble, and there were changes made to Social Security, specifically in the 80s, that helped extend that. I believe that'll happen again. The question is, what are they going to do, and how will it impact those who are walking straight towards retirement anyway?
Right. So I believe that this is a factor in drawing your Social Security, on when to start your Social Security. If you're thinking, well, Social Security is for a lifetime, which is the way we want you to think, well, you hear that Social Security might be reduced 12 years from now, and then you look back and well, should I draw now? Should I wait? What we're going to try to say throughout the show is you got to build the best plan for you that fits. Now, one of the reasons not to draw at 62 is about earnings. Can you explain why people, if they draw before FRA, their full retirement age, there might be a penalty on their earnings?
Yes, the Social Security Administration was designed to pay benefit at full retirement age. If you claim early, first and foremost, you have a reduced benefit. But in addition, if you have other earned income before your full retirement age, you run the risk of losing your full retirement benefit. It will be taken away if you have income that exceeds $19,620 per year. They will remove $1 for every $2 over that. So in essence, if you make about $35,000, you won't have a benefit anyway. There's no reason to claim if you're still working and earning more than $19,000 before your full retirement age.
And that's a simple advice there is if you're 62 and you're fully working and you making around 30 to 40,000 or higher, you should not draw Social Security.
I would agree with that statement 100%.
If you make less, part of me says if you're working, don't draw Social Security. Sort of my general advice is if you're working, postpone it. By postponing from 62 to later, it increases. Every month you wait to draw, it will increase by about 0.5%.
Yes.
The key ingredient to drawing Social Security is a combination of answer. Do you need the money? It's very important. What is your life, your longevity? What do you expect your life expectancy to be? Is it going to be the averages of 82, 84, or is it going to be beyond that? Or are you pretty ill now? That's all these have to weigh in.
I agree 100%. What you said before was absolutely spot on. Social Security, when to claim it, how to use it, is individual and unique and distinct to each and every individual, kind of like your fingerprint strategy,
right?
Where there is no one case that everybody should be doing. I've heard people say everybody should claim at 62. I do not agree with that at all, because there are scenarios when it makes sense and there are scenarios when it does not make sense. You have to look at your own scenario.
Absolutely. And so what we've seen over time is some people are at a party, whatever kind of party it is, and they're talking to somebody, and then they come in, they talk to us, and say, oh, they told me I ought to draw, so I went ahead and called Social Security. I'm like, well, we've been talking for years about not drawing it until you're 67 because we want to do other kinds of planning when your income is lower. There's a lot of planning that can be done during your 60s because we can control our income. In our 70s, we have to use IRA money, but in our 60s, we can control when to start Social Security.
There's so much misinformation as it relates to Social Security. Unfortunately, I hear those stories on a regular basis. I know you do as well. Could tell you all kinds of nightmares, but we don't have enough time for that today.
Absolutely. At Akers Financial Group, we want you in your retirement years. We want your biggest worry of your day to only be about where you're going to drink your morning cup of coffee, where every day seems like a Saturday, free of stress. Your retirement income or investments are taken care of by the team of advisors at Akers Financial Group. If this is the future you want, it's not too late. It's so easy to begin winning in retirement. Meet with one of our team of advisors, a free meeting about you and your retirement. You can give us a call at 833-WIN-RETIRE. That's 833-WIN-RETIRE. We'll give you a call on Monday to schedule a free meeting in person or Zoom. And you can also go to our website at akersfinancialgroup.com or just give us a call at 833-946-7384 to start planning for your retirement now. Should you draw early or not? We'll go over this in 2 minutes as we begin the second quarter.
You're listening to a pre-recorded show. Welcome back to Winning in Retirement. Call 833-WIN-RETIRE now to schedule a visit with Brian and his team and begin winning in retirement. Once again, here's Brian Akers.
Welcome back to Winning in Retirement. I'm Brian Akers, president and founder of Akers Financial Group. Today I have with me a special guest. It's Sam Payne. He is a certified national Social Security advisor, and we have him here speaking about Social Security. And I wanted to make today a very, very special show because I wanted us to have a conversation about starting Social Security and understanding what it takes when you're thinking about when is the right time for you and your family to start Social Security. We do not want you to just do what everyone else does. You need to make your own decision. So the best thing about today's show is think about your situation, not what someone else did and when they did it and what was right for them, but what's going to be right for you. Sam, you ready to go here in the second quarter?
I'm ready to go. I love Social Security.
I know you love it, but I know you're also postponing it, waiting for the future, which is a really great thing. And that's exactly this first question I had. As we left the last quarter, we were talking about should you draw early or not? And so I wanted you to have your first comment about just the basics of should you start early or not?
Well, my first recommendation is no, but really there's many things you got to think about. There's several variables you got to think about, and you know these variables. These are variables you talk about with your clients.
Yep.
Tell us about some of the variables that you would consider when deciding whether or not to actually claim Social Security early.
I always begin with health and longevity because I really believe the math, when you're doing Social Security and trying to figure out the break even, is around age 80, a little before age 80, a little after, depending on if you use interest rates. Or some people say, well, if I invest my whole Social Security, can I beat Social Security by drawing early and investing? My answer is probably not, because you're going to use the money and you got to pay tax now. And so what I try to do is look at that variable. There's the inflation, the cost of living. There's Medicare premiums. We'll have to cover that. There's a lot of these variables that affect that decision. But one of the things I have is longevity, and then the other thing is, do you need the money?
Right.
And
right.
Some of us cannot retire based on our own choice, where we go to work and say, oh, I'm retiring in 3 months. We might get that, the company's shutting down and you're retiring right now. You might not be able to choose when you draw your Social Security.
That's absolutely true. There are so many times when individuals take into consideration that break-even analysis like you talked about. And for years, that's what CPAs were using to suggest when to claim Social Security. The problem with that break-even analysis is it does not take into consideration things like the age differences between spouses.
Oh,
it doesn't take
absolutely.
into consideration of the health changes or health conditions of spouses, the longevity in the family. Those are things that are individualized that you have to take into consideration when you make any recommendation to claim Social Security for any of our clients.
I love part of the story. I know I've heard you say this in a couple of your talks when we're speaking to other advisors and teaching them about Social Security. One of them is about the very first person to draw Social Security. I think her name is May Fuller.
Yep.
And she drew about $22 a month. And at the end of 1939, the beginning of 1940, she was the first person to draw.
First person to ever draw. She put in, I think it was 17 cents and got a total of $22 out, or some crazy number. It was ridiculous.
Yeah. One website said her lifetime contribution to Social Security was $24.
Okay.
And her first check was $22.
Yeah.
Now, the concept of Social Security was 1935. That's when they started it. They voted it in. Right. Part of it was with FDR working on having people retire so younger workers could get in and work.
Yep.
The amazing thing is they chose 65 as Social Security. And what was the basically life expectancy back then?
The average mortality at the time was 60 years old. So the expectation is most people wouldn't even collect the benefit.
Absolutely. So men were 60, and I think women were like 63 at the time.
Exactly.
And so the math under Social Security was you're not expected to live to get it.
Right.
But if you're already that old, draw it now. Now, the funniest thing is May Fuller drew at 65, and then I think she lived to 1974. She was 100 years old. Yeah. So Social Security lost bad on the very first person that they had in the system.
They lost bad, and the other thing I try and get individuals to understand is that Social Security was designed not to be a retirement income plan, but to lift seniors out of poverty after the Depression.
Sure.
It was never intended to be the end-all, be-all of every worker in America, as it appears to, for some, has turned out to be.
Everyone realizes that inflation is hitting us this year.
Yes.
We truly have not seen inflation the last 2 decades for retirees. So what happens is that, I can retire and I can live. The idea is this: our retirement is going to be 20 years. It's going to be 20 plus years. It could be more than you actually work, depending on how healthy you are. So what's amazing is this: a Social Security decision where you draw maybe 5 years too early at 62 and not wait to 67 could mean a huge difference in your finances down the road.
Yes, the impact in future years of the decisions you make today is monumental. And that's you cover that in your financial plans with clients on a regular basis. When you sit down and you show them the math behind claiming now and claiming later. I think that's incredible that you do that.
Right. So the basics as you're listening to this show is this. Yes, you can draw at 62, and over 70% of Americans do. They do. I believe that they make the decision that they're eligible and I'll take it. Then they don't really think about everything about Social Security. So one of the best reasons to listen to this talk is about Social Security, starting Social Security. When is the best thing for you? First of all, if you're working, don't draw it. Let it run. Now, full retirement age, there's an interesting rule. At 67, you can draw Social Security and work as much as you like. You can do both.
Right.
I have done that with people who have debt and I needed that money to get rid of the debt so they can fully retire and make their budget work.
That's one of those strategies, one of the strategies that you can incorporate because somebody's actually doing some planning and they're using Social Security and optimizing, getting the maximum benefit that they can out of it.
Absolutely. Now, back in, I think, 2009, 2010, many of the strategies and the alternative drawing strategies all changed.
Yes.
It's pretty simple now. Let's just talk basics about full retirement, talk about a spouse. And we have a husband and wife, and we have a situation. Let's just say they're the same age for this example. All right, so they're getting ready to enter retirement years. What is some basic advice when you talk about Social Security? How do you start to recommend things?
Well, a couple of things that we talk about is waiting, of course, till your full retirement age, if you can.
Right.
There are scenarios when they can't. So if they can, wait till the full retirement age. The second age is recognizing that you need to plan for the early passing of one spouse.
Right.
You've had this scenario when a spouse passes away, you know what happens to the left spouse, the spouse who's remaining. You know what their benefit is, that they get a reduced benefit, but there's another whammy that they get hit with. And how do you communicate with clients about that?
All right. So if you have a husband and wife, and you have two Social Security incomes coming in. After one passes away, you only have one Social Security income. And that Social Security income will be a combination of the highest.
Yes.
And so it's the highest of the two. So that normally leads to, when you have a couple with the same age, that whoever has the lowest benefit might want to draw first. And then the one with the higher benefit, what I call the family benefit, we might want to let it run, let it grow larger over time. And by letting that grow larger, it is a way of ensuring for survivorship for the widow.
Absolutely.
Now, some couples that come in and go, oh, we're both living to 100. And then that might be, well, definitely both wait to 67. I might have one being unhealthy. And we say, well, what do you need for your budget? We try to work out the budget side. Every scenario is different, and that's why you really got to know your numbers. You need to go to ssa.gov and set up your account there and get your numbers. And the reason you got to get your numbers is to see what it is today. On those on the websites, you can play around with the numbers where you can actually say, what if I retire at 62, 65, 67? What if I work till then? What if I don't work? And you can run those numbers and get a good estimate to begin the process of running your numbers.
Yeah, and I think the first thing, we probably haven't touched base on this, but one of the things, advice I would give is make sure individuals know their numbers. Either get your statement or go online and sign up for your account. Know what your primary insurance amount is. Know what that number actually is. That's important.
Absolutely. I've done it many years ago so I could print out mine, see how it works, make sure I understand on my own. Because I found in financial planning, when you do everything for you and your family and then apply it to your clients, it makes life a lot easier because you can say, well, this is what I did in this scenario. This show today is called Starting Social Security, and I think it's very personal to me because everyone born in their 60s have to think about Social Security now. Now, I'm born in the later 60s, which is good for me, I guess. But what happens is the fact that Social Security is coming, and there's a decision coming in the future. Generally, my advice would be wait to 67 for most people, but not everybody. Now, those are born in 1960. 62 is this year. Should you draw? My answer would be no. I don't know their name yet, but I said no.
Right. Blanket statement is no with some conditions.
A lot of conditions,
Yeah,
right?
a lot of conditions. But for most people, I would agree with you. Most people are not quitting work at 62. Most people are working to 65, 67, and beyond. As a matter of fact, if you're still working and have not claimed Social Security and you're 68, there are some special strategies you can incorporate that those that aren't 68 can't. In other words, if you were born before January 2nd of 1954, you have some strategies available to you. That's a good reason to come in and see you.
Yeah, there's special strategies for those born before 1954, and that's just something you got to think about. The other thing I've had in my career was someone who came in at the age of 72.
Yeah,
and didn't realize the maximum age was 70, and they had missed out on Social Security. All we could do is go back 6 months and get them a lump sum of payment. They He basically missed a year and a half of Social Security because of a misunderstanding he had.
But the good thing is they did go back 6 months. They weren't required to, but they did, which is great.
Yes. The final point I want to make is that this early retirement decision on Social Security, don't just do it because everybody else is doing it. Don't do it because you're eligible. Do it because it's the right financial decision for the long term, for your entire retirement years. Because when you're 82 years old, are you going to talk to your 62-year-old self and say, why did you draw early? I've had a couple of clients come in and say, Brian, I made a mistake when I was 62. I drew it. I'm now 72, and I really wish I didn't. And the problem is I can't go back and fix it. Now, retirement should be something where you enjoy what's going on. The actual best part of retirement should be getting your time back, where you decide how to use it. Before retirement, your time is tied up with other commitments, mainly your job. A lot of that goes away at retirement. Your time is now consumed by things you want to do. It's so easy to begin winning in retirement. Go to our website at akersfinancialgroup.com, scroll to a schedule a meeting section, and let us know that you'd like to schedule your free consultation with one of our team of advisors. That's akersfinancialgroup.com, or you can give us a call at 833-WIN-RETIRE. That's 833-WINRETIRE. We'll give you a call on Monday to schedule your free in-person or Zoom meeting. Go to akersfinancialgroup.com or give us a call at 833-946-7384 to start planning for your retirement now. You paid into Social Security. Get the most out of it. We will explain in just 2 minutes.
You're listening to a pre-recorded show. Welcome back to Winning in Retirement. Call 833-WIN-RETIRE now to schedule a visit with Brian and his team and begin winning in retirement. Once again, here's Brian Akers.
Just like the announcer said, we welcome you back too, just like he said. And today is starting Social Security here on Winning in Retirement. We're covering this topic. I am Brian Akers, certified financial planner practitioner from Akers Financial Group. And here with me today is Sam Payne. Sam Payne has over 30 years experience in the financial services industry. And what we have him today to talk about is because Sam is a certified national Social Security advisor. We had asked him to come in and talk about Social Security and to talk about the basics of Social Security and to talk about the main topic of starting Social Security and that whole decision. So Sam, we're here in the second half.
Yes, we are.
Yeah. Now, did you play sports in high school?
I didn't. No, I was a wrestler. Well, that's a sports, but we didn't have halves and quarters. We just went out and wrestled.
You wrestled. Wrestled or grappled?
Wrestled. We wrestled.
You were in Texas wrestling back then?
Yes.
All right. So what's really great about that is you had to get ready. So you drank a lot of water before? Or what?
A lot of water, get your weight to where it needed to be.
Okay. And you were prepared?
Prepared, always prepared.
Now, at halftime, I always like to just get psyched up for that second half, get some energy. I remember one basketball game I was playing, and my coach says, "You have no energy, Brian." And he gave me $1. Go get a hot dog. And I got a Snickers bar instead.
Oh, you had lots of energy then.
That's my key is Snickers bars. All right, so here we go. In the second half of the show, the show is called Winning in Retirement. Winning in retirement for me is that we have enough money to meet our needs, but also to do the things we want to do in retirement. The reason we want to retire is to enjoy that time. Now, sometimes we have to retire because of health, but generally we want our clients to be financially independent, where they choose to retire and try to have this all planned out. Social Security is part of the plan. It cannot be the only part of the plan. So as we get into the second half, into the third quarter here, the question we're going to start with is this. You paid into Social Security, get the most out of it. Now, Sam, that's it. The first little question is this, is what's your basic advice on getting the most out of Social Security?
Well, to get the most out of Social Security is making sure you're not claiming it at an age where it will be taken away. So make sure that you are at full retirement age when you claim it. Now, we've been talking a lot about the workers' retirement benefits. Right. I just wanted to point out that Social Security has several different benefits: retirement benefits, disability benefits, and survivor benefits.
Sure.
And all of them require you to decide when to claim those benefits. It doesn't make sense to claim those benefits at age 62 before full retirement age if you are truly earning income in those years.
Right. When I have a client come in and they say, well, I'm disabled, I'm out on workman's comp, I have that issue, and I'm like, have you applied to Social Security? And they usually say, no, I thought I had to wait till a certain age. And now Social Security DI or disability can be at any age. My general advice with that is you need to talk to your doctor and to see if the doctor thinks you should, because you need that doctor and their medical reports to support the concept that, yes, you are going to be disabled long-term and that you do need to start drawing Social Security.
True, absolutely. And I think disability is a little bit more difficult to get because you actually have to prove that you're disabled for a long period of time.
Yeah, 69% are denied right away.
Yes.
There are certain illnesses, diseases, things that happen to you that make you automatically approved.
Yes.
And I think you need to examine your personal situation. Social Security disability actually gets you your benefit that you would get at full retirement age. You get it then, whatever age you are at that time. Mm-hmm. Now, I've had scenarios where I had a client, he was basically disabled. His daughter was still in high school. He could get Social Security for that daughter. I had another client that was drawing Social Security, and he turned 70, and that's the maximum age, so he started drawing Social Security, and he had recently adopted a daughter at 7 years old. And I said, well, if you draw Social Security, the daughter gets a benefit too right then.
That's true.
For minors under 17 years old. There's a lot of features of Social Security out there. Some of them I want to talk about is, well, there's the married part.
Yes.
So married with one spouse that never worked, what happens with Social Security?
Married with one spouse that never worked, your spouse has a benefit available to them. Their benefit will never be more than the number we talked about at the beginning, the primary insurance amount, the amount you would receive at full retirement age. The spousal benefit, the maximum they will ever be able to draw is 50% of that. So they can get up to 50% of your full retirement age benefit if they claim at their full retirement age. If they claim early, their benefit is reduced. Their 50% of that primary insurance amount is reduced, just like if the worker claims early, their benefit is reduced as well.
So if someone at 67 has a benefit of $2,000 and their spouse had never worked, their spouse that at 67 would get $1,000. If that spouse is 62 when the other spouse, I'm confusing myself with the spouses, but we have the worker spouse, they draw $2,000. The non-working spouse draws $1,000 at full retirement age. If they were 62 when that happened, they'd only get $700.
Exactly.
And that's something that's locked in during the lifetime.
Yes.
Now, so lifetime benefits for spouses are split based on that 50%, and it's whichever one has the highest. If someone lets it run to 70, from 67 to 70, it actually increases at a greater rate than the penalty. What is that rate that Social Security increases if you wait even longer?
It's typically about 8% per year.
Okay.
Between your full retirement age and age 70.
That would mean 24 more percent. It also means that you have to work a little, you have to live a little longer and make it break even.
True. Again, depending on your status, your health, your longevity, and your family, you've got to take that in consideration. But I think another thing to consider is getting an 8% return on an income that's guaranteed.
Yep.
Pretty hard to do today, right?
Absolutely. Now, there's some caveats to the guarantee with the disclaimers by Social Security that they might reduce it, but it's still a guarantee with cost of living.
Yes.
It's very hard under pensions and everything else that's out there to even have cost of living anymore. So some other topics I want to talk about is if you're divorced during your lifetime and you're currently single, you can actually draw based on your ex-spouse.
You can. And surprisingly, you can draw on more than one, or you can choose between ex-spouses as long as you were married to that person for 10 or more years. You're only eligible for a divorced spousal benefit if you've been married for 10 years. But you could have been married twice to two different people for 10 years, and you could choose which benefit.
I had a client, he was married 3 times.
Yeah.
And all 3 were more than 10 years.
Yeah.
And what happens is that when he applied for Social Security, I went in with him because it was a long story, and we had to bring all the facts about every possible beneficiary.
Right.
Their marriage date, divorce date. We had to talk birth dates, Social Security numbers, and we got all explained to them. Those ex-spouses were eligible if they were not currently married. And so that was another factor. So if they weren't married, they could draw up to half of his while he's alive. And if he'd pass away, they could apply for the benefit there too.
That's true. That is a benefit available to divorced ex-spouses. But again, they have to be married at least 10 years.
And the word married is very important. If you're not married, you're not getting that credit. That 10-year credit is extremely important. It starts when you have your marriage certificate.
That's true. Absolutely.
Now, a widowed person, that's a husband or wife, whoever passes away, they will get a benefit. And can you explain the basics of that?
They basically get the benefit of the worker. I mean, we're getting confused with spouses. So I like to say the worker is the person who actually earned the benefit.
Sure.
The widow is the person, or the spouse is other than the worker. So the widow gets a benefit off of the worker's primary insurance amount.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, 60 is the earliest age that a widow or widower could start drawing if they need money right then.
That's true. Absolutely.
Yeah, so 60, if your spouse has passed away, you could draw. Now, there's some situations where I've had to explain to retirees that they could get remarried and not lose their old Social Security benefit. So, yes, one scenario was their husband passed away, they're drawing Social Security based on him, and then like 5 years later, they're in their later 60s, early 70s, and they wanted to know if they got married, do they forfeit Social Security? And the answer was no, because they got married after drawing. If you're married, that's who you're compared to when it comes to your calculation.
Right. That's true. Absolutely.
Now, your children, they get benefits up to certain ages based on the scenarios also. So understanding children's benefits are very important. There are benefits if you pass away that go to the kids until they're out of high school. These are all very important pieces of planning, and also very important when you look at things about planning for their life, especially if a spouse dies too early.
Your children can get it. Your spouse can get a benefit if they're caring for a child at a certain age.
Yeah.
So yes, there's understanding the benefit to the kids is important, and I've seen clients who have claimed the benefit not necessarily for their own benefit to make sure that their child get a benefit until they were too old to not get a benefit any longer.
Yeah. So today's show is called Starting Social Security, about all the thoughts about when to start, what to do. Knowing your scenario helps us guide you to a good decision. Social Security, their websites, their phone lines are not there to give you advice on how to draw. They'll give you the facts. If you're applying in person, they might give you a rundown of all your numbers based on whatever month you draw. They will most likely encourage you to draw earlier than you think. I always think it's they're trying to get you more money right now, but they're also lowering the exposure to the federal government by having you draw early.
Yep. And I think one thing I would suggest is that if you're trying to figure out when to claim Social Security for yourself, that you work with an advisor who truly has a firm grasp of Social Security, that they truly understand Social Security, that their answers aren't just everybody claim at 62.
Absolutely. Now, Social Security is taxed federally, and that depends on your total income. We're not going to cover a lot of taxation today, but in the state of Maryland, Social Security has some pension exclusions once you're 65 years old. So that it's not fully taxed here in Maryland for retirees. It's partially taxed depending on how much you make. That's just a thing about living in Maryland. People go, oh, we tax everything. Social Security has an exclusion. So there's pensions under the pension exclusion here in Maryland, and under the new rule with the retirement income tax credit, which is $1,000 or $1,750 credit towards retirement income. Now, Akers Financial Group, we're local, we're independent. We don't report to a big company on Wall Street. We report to you. We do have offices in Lutherville and Forest Hill, and we have clients all around the country and even some all around the world. It's so easy to begin winning in retirement. All you need to do is give us a call for a free consultation with one of our team of advisors. You can give us a call at 833-WIN-RETIRE. That's 833-WIN-RETIRE. We'll give you a call on Monday to schedule your free in-person or Zoom meeting. Go to our website at akersfinancialgroup.com or give us a call at 833-946-7384 to start planning for your retirement now. Can Social Security be your only retirement income? We'll talk about this in the fourth quarter in just 2 minutes.
You're listening to a pre-recorded show. Welcome back to Winning in Retirement. Call 833-WIN-RETIRE now to schedule a visit with Brian and his team and begin winning in retirement. Once again, here's Brian Akers.
Welcome back. I'm Brian Akers, and here with me today is our special guest, Sam Payne. He's an expert, certified by the National Social Security. He's a certified National Social Security advisor. And what's the association group called?
National Social Security Advisor Association.
Okay, NSS.
NSSA.
NSSA, but not NASA.
Not NASA, no. No rocket science.
All right, so welcome to the fourth quarter, Sam. The fourth quarter in any game is winning time. Right. So I've been a basketball coach for 30-some years, and so we designed this radio show into 4 quarters, 4 separate quarters, information, and the design that I get a break after every quarter, which is nice. But also the clients get a break as they listen. And anybody that's catching our show here on 105.7 The Fan, what you're able to hear is what we do in planning. Hopefully you can pick up a couple things. One of them is this. Your financial decisions should be based on your financial life, not anybody else's. And it's very important to think things through. Don't just say, oh, I'm eligible for Social Security, I should start now. So today's show is almost like a warning show. Starting Social Security is very, very important, and it's a very tough thing to decide on. But once you decide, you're sort of done with that decision. We're going to talk about all of this. Now, let's just say you missed part of the show. Wow, I wish I'd heard this whole show. Well, guess what? Our website, AkersFinancialGroup.com. Akers is AKERS, financialgroup.com. You go to that website. Up top there it says radio, hit radio, and then you'll see our shows are listed there for you to hear through a podcast setting. We're also on some other podcasts out there, Odyssey and Spotify. What I'd like you to do is this. Think about your situation, about your plan for Social Security and how it works with your retirement. All right, Sam, so we're getting ready to start the fourth quarter. This is like the winning time when we got to come back from behind or we got to hold the lead. How do you feel the show's gone so far? Are we holding the lead or do we have to make a big comeback?
I think we're out in front. I think we're doing great. I think we've touched on the things that are incredibly important for people to realize, to take into consideration when they're determining their own strategy for claiming Social Security. Social Security is part of the bigger puzzle.
Yeah, so if you had to clarify what was the best advice we've given so far, what do you think that was?
I think the free throw shot, the winning shot, the three-pointer was don't take the advice for everybody to claim at 62.
If we could just repeat that for the next 12 minutes, that would be what I'd love to do. When someone walks in and goes, oh, I drew at 62, and I'm like, well, why are you here for retirement planning if you already made that big decision? Social Security is a big decision. Don't take it lightly, but don't think about it as, oh, I'm 62, I'm eligible, I need to take it. You have choices. And so when we're talking about our fourth quarter, we have this question. And so Sam, that question is this. Can Social Security be your only retirement income?
No, it shouldn't be. For some people it is. But one thing I wanted to point out is for most people, for everybody, the Social Security income, the amount of income, what is that worth to them, is an incredibly big asset. It's bigger than most think. There's an analysis that if an average couple age 66 retires, takes the average Social Security benefit, their earnings will be close to $1 million over their average lifetime. So let me ask you a question.
It's $1 million, yeah.
What's the average cost of a home around here?
$373 is the average in the state of Maryland as of last year.
And a lot of people in their minds think that their home is their biggest financial asset. Mm-hmm. I would contest that and say that Social Security for a lot of them is their biggest financial asset. The key is making sure that they get the most out of it.
And what I start thinking about Social Security, and I think, well, if we wait, we can do so much more. So imagine this concept. You're in your 60s. You can control your income. So what I mean by that is this. You do not have to take money out of your IRA. Typically, if you're retired, that means you're not working full-time. You might be working part-time. And then Social Security is a choice on when to draw it. You can draw it any year after you turn 62. We typically want you to wait later until it fits better, maybe 65, maybe 67. But what happens is this. If we don't have income, we then can do other things. We could sell things that have gains at a lower tax bracket. We can do Roth conversions and pay the tax on retirement income so that we don't have to pay a higher bracket the rest of our life, especially if we don't draw Social Security yet. If we have a lot of liquid savings in the bank, maybe we can live off of that our early years of retirement, have our income be very low, but then do Roth conversion. I think that's a wonderful thing to do. So when I start thinking about planning and options and what to do, I think about Social Security, about starting Social Security. How can we wait? Can we afford to wait? Can we wait? That's my planning thought is, can we wait a little longer? Now, I'm comfortable with that because I believe most people are going to be retired for a lifetime, for a long time. I'm talking into our 80s, and many clients are into their 80s with Social Security. And at least one of the spouses have about a 50% chance of living into their 80s when you both hit 65. So the math of this all is about the highest benefit. The longer we wait, the higher that benefit will be, and it will be there for whenever we need it, which is very important.
Yeah, and one of the ways I try and describe this, you mentioned a lot of pieces of the retirement income plan. And when you think of a retirement income plan, it's almost like a huge puzzle. You talked about Roths, you talked about IRAs, you talked about pension income and Social Security income and inflation. Those are all pieces of the big puzzle. But it's not like, this puzzle is not like the puzzle you would have on your kitchen table or on your coffee table, where the pieces are static and they fit the way exactly the same way. The pieces of this puzzle, this retirement income puzzle, they're dynamic. This year, inflation is a much, much bigger piece of the overall puzzle than perhaps Roth conversions or perhaps longevity or perhaps Social Security income. So understanding, first and foremost, the pieces of the puzzle, and then having someone who can help you put those pieces together and monitor those pieces of the puzzle, I think is important. Wouldn't you agree?
I agree. I'm more of a cow kind of guy instead of the puzzles.
Yeah.
My cow is that if we have multiple cows as we enter retirement, we can milk different ones. Social Security is one of the cows. IRAs, Roth IRAs, other investments are all part of it. But the puzzle is how you actually put it all together. Imagine that you're going to say, where is my money going to come from? What are the sources? And you start writing down, well, Social Security for each spouse, the investment income, and pension. One of the key reasons to make sure you maximize your Social Security is because so many of us do not have pensions anymore. So the only fixed income might be Social Security in your future. And that's a reason that when you think about Social Security and why it cannot only be your retirement income, is that we need to have money on the side, money invested, that can allow us to be able to afford when the cost of living doubles. A 7% inflation rate over a decade will raise our expenses by 100%. Can your income plan afford that?
Right.
That's an extremely important thing, and it's a big warning when people are experiencing inflation for the first time here in the last couple of years. That inflation will probably stay with us. It might not keep growing at that rate, but where it's inflated to, that price might stay the same.
Yeah, and you're using a 7% average when we just saw an 11% increase in 1 year.
Yeah.
That's huge, and that the impact of that is dynamic, and for some, honestly, catastrophic.
1970s averaged over 7% for a decade.
Yeah.
The average average inflation rate for 40 years, if you're thinking about retirement, is around 3.73%. The idea that we've had such a low, I believe we're going to be escalating up on an average inflation rate, and we got to have our plans ready for that.
To some degree, we've been spoiled, and we've forgotten what we have to plan for.
Yeah, absolutely. The planning is not just for today's income, because you might look at, if I draw Social Security now, I got enough money. I just barely squeak by. If you actually say that out of your mouth when you retire and say, I can barely squeak by at 62, that means you will not be squeaking by at 67, at 70, at 72, at 80. It's going to be tighter and tighter and tighter. And that's what we don't want in your financial plan. And that's why you listen to radio shows like this, because you want to win in retirement. You want to be able to keep up with inflation, do the things you want to do, and make sure there's money for you. And if you're not around, that your family is taken care of. That's survivorship benefits and understanding how this all works together.
Yeah, and when it comes to winning in retirement, it's like sports, Brian. Winning in retirement requires preparation for the game, and knowing your opponent, knowing what you're up against.
Absolutely. And then I believe coaching is a massive piece for athletes. It's a massive piece for each and every one of us about our finances. That coaching is bringing an expert in that's going to refine what you're doing to make it better than what you've done before. Mm-hmm. If you want to reach your goals, a financial planner is the person who's going to help guide you there. They're going to help you make those tough decisions so that they're thinking down the road, maybe further down the road than you even think.
I agree 100%. And when you're looking for a coach, make sure you work with a coach who knows the topic. Mm-hmm. Akers Financial, I've worked with you guys for a long time. You guys know financial planning and all the components of it, not just Social Security.
Oh, that's wonderful, Sam. Thanks for being so nice to me. That's why I have you on the show, is because you're nice to me. You know that, Sam, right?
I've known you a long time.
Well, actually, the only reason I let you on the show is because you're the Social Security expert, and I can ask crazy questions. Yes. Now, I want to finish up with maybe a crazy question.
Okay.
So people draw Social Security at 62, but then they go back to work.
Yes.
What's the bad thing about going back to work? What happens?
Well, going back to work, you will lose your Social Security benefit for sure.
Okay, so if you make more than what, $19,000?
$19,000, they'll take away $2 for every dollar, or $1 for every $2 over $19,000. So they'll take away the benefit, but you won't really lose that benefit overall. There's a calculation that's done when you get to full retirement age that's the reduced benefit that you had will actually be increased, is the easiest way I can explain it.
Yeah, I just want to hit up this last topic as we finish up the show. It's just something that just is different, and that's is this. You draw Social Security, and then all of a sudden you get that call to go back to work. There has been many of those calls for consulting, and they pay extremely well, and then you realize, oh no, they're going to take away my Social Security. Now, yes, they'll take it away, but in the future, the penalties will get taken away, and yes, that'll be okay, but you do lose that money. So that's all plays into your decision on taking that job before your full retirement age.
Yeah, there are those that would tell you that you will lose that benefit forever, and that's not necessarily so.
All right, well, we're going to end on that one, Sam. Thank you very much for a great show. I appreciate all your advice, and hopefully everybody out there has paid attention to some of the information here. But we want to get one point. Know about starting Social Security and why it's important to think about waiting longer than age 62. We want you to win in your retirement. We want you to take advantage of an opportunity to meet and begin planning with one of our team of advisors at Akers Financial Group. To schedule that free meeting, go to our website at akersfinancialgroup.com, scroll to a schedule a meeting section, and let us know you'd like to schedule your free meeting. That's akersfinancialgroup.com, or you can give us a call at 833-WIN-RETIRE. That's 833-WIN-RETIRE. We'll give you a call on Monday to schedule your free in-person or Zoom meeting with one of our team of advisors. Start planning for your retirement now. Go to akersfinancialgroup.com or give us a call at 833-946-7384. Thank you for listening. I'm Brian Akers from Akers Financial Group, and we want you to begin winning in retirement.
You've been listening to Winning in Retirement with your host, Brian Akers of Akers Financial Group. Brian Akers of Akers Financial Group is a registered representative offering securities through Kalos Capital Incorporated and investment advisory services through Kalos Management Incorporated. Akers Financial Group is not an affiliate or subsidiary of Kalos Capital or Kalos Management and does not provide tax and legal services. Advice given on Winning in Retirement is general in nature, and one should seek further advice from their financial advisor, broker, attorney, or tax accountant before investing. Be sure to read each prospectus carefully to understand all the risks associated with each investment.